Yo, what's going on, GameLeapers? It's Coach Eeks, and in today's video, we are going to get stuck into the 20 most broken champions for patch 13.14. If you guys haven't watched our changes video from yesterday, I'd highly recommend doing so. We will get into some of them in today's video because they're going to make some champions really broken, and even some of the nerf champions are still going to be head and shoulders above everybody else. So to find out who the 20 most broken are going to be, guys, and we have champions from every single role, make sure you stick around for the whole video. But if you stick around for the whole video, your elo is not going to change. Whatever elo you're in at the moment, you're still going to be in it in 10 minutes time. But if you do actually want to make the most out of your time on the Rift, if you're playing ranked, if you're competitive, if you want to improve, if you want to get the most out of League of Legends, GameLeap.com. Myself and other challenger players and coaches from across the world are uploading videos on the daily that will help you improve, whether it's something to do with your champion's micro, whether it's your role macro, whether it's even like a high elo VOD analysis or like kind of snippets from a coaching session. Guys, we have everything you need to actually improve at the game. You can pick any champion you want and give yourself the best chance of climbing because we will teach you the game and how it's played at the highest level. So check out those links in the description and comment section. So let's get into the 20 most broken for 13.14. Starting in the top lane, we have a newcomer, this being Aatrox. Now, not only is your minions damage based on your Q increasing, but also the total AD ratio is increasing on this at later levels, and you'll be maxing this first, of course, so at level 9, you will be dealing a lot more damage with this, especially if you can land the sweet spot on your Q, it will deal even more. Even though the base damage might be going down, by the time you hit level 9, you should have enough total attack damage to make this worth it. I think good Aatrox players, skilled Aatrox players are really going to enjoy this, and then we also have the items getting buffed, so if you're going something with Random Endowment, you could go Spirit Visage, Steris Gauge. It's going to make almost like Drain Tank Aatrox, if you want to go Gore Drinker, really good in the top lane. He doesn't really have like many losing matchups either. Maybe something like Aurelia is a little bit scary to play against, right? But Aatrox for the most part, I think he's definitely going to be back. Hopefully not picked and banned though. Then we have Fiora. This champion, guys, is still going to be nuts. No changes are really going to affect her in 13.14, which is why she's going to maintain pretty much all of her strength. There might be other champions in the top lane like Aatrox who are getting buffed, and some champions who might benefit a little bit more from items like Steris Gauge and Shojin and Omen getting buffed, but for the most part, man, Fiora is still going to be Fiora. Now, one champion who is getting changed in 13.14, this is Jax. So for Jax next patch, what's happening is your ease cooldown is increasing by a second at each rank, who cares? And also the mana cost is back to 100 for your ultimate, who cares? Jax is still going to be Jax. Also Shojin getting buffed, so 100 gold cheaper and more HP in this item. Maybe this is going to be really viable, especially if you're snowballing. And yes, Trinity Force may be getting nerfed, so the attack speed is going down to 33%. That's a 2% decrease. So if you're snowballing on Jackson against swishy champions, Triforce is definitely great. But the actual kind of like funny thing here is that Triforce is probably getting buffed because the 3-fold strike AD you're getting from the passive, this is now going to max stack at 3 stacks. So this is actually a buff for the first 10 attacks. Now I know that Jax likes, longer fights, so maybe the old Trinity Force would have been good here, but this means you're hitting harder, quicker, and sooner. And that's what you're getting Trinity Force for because you're so much more fed. So you'll actually just be one-shotting people. You won't even have to beat them in a drawn-out duel. So Jax is also here. The last top laner to consider is Poppy. Why is Poppy here? Because she's one of the best counter-picking champions in the game right now. Whether you're picking Poppy into a Jax, into a Camille, into a team that has like, 50 dashes, the champion is unreal. Also in the top lane, because of those buffs not so long ago that increase her like damage based on HP, top lane, there is a lot of health. So Poppy is going to froth it. So having her as a counter pick, I think it's excellent. And the buffs as well to those tankier items, she'll definitely appreciate them too. Now moving into the jungle here. Every single one of these junglers, so there are 4 of them, are getting changed in 13.14. The first of these is Kindred. Now, even though Kindred is losing cooldown on her Q and base damage as well, your health and armor are both getting reverted, right? So your HP is going back to 610 and your armor is going back to 29. This makes you harder to kill in the early game. Even if you are losing a little bit of damage in your Q, guess what? Well, it's really Trinity Force here that's going to keep Kindred being super OP because Trinity Force, yes, you're losing 2% attack speed, like I said for Jax, but you're actually stacking it quicker and dealing more damage quicker. So for a champion like Kindred, especially if you're going PTA into squishy teams, you're going to shred them. So Trinity Force Kindred is still going to be really good. That's the same for Rek'Sai as well. Now, obviously not Trinity Force Rek'Sai, I'm talking Stridebreaker Rek'Sai. That item is not getting nerfed, so Stridebreaker Rek'Sai is still going to be great. And you also might be interested in, because your E is now going to scale off total attack damage. You might also be interested in the tank items getting buffed. So even something like Steris Gauge or Randuin's Omen in specific games, even Spirit Visage, right? These are actually nice buffs for Bruiser Rek'Sai. And just like I mentioned, guys, Rek'Sai's bonus AD on his E is changing to total attack damage, so it actually encourages you to go more bruisery instead of like full lethality assassin. And I should also mention that your W's damage is going down, but for the most part, man, I still think Rek'Sai is going to be really good just because of what I just talked about, like Stride Breaker, and the fact you can probably abuse Bruiser Rek'Sai. I still think she's going to be good in 13-14. That's the same for Rengar as well. Yes, Rengar, you are losing crit in your Q. You are losing some base health regen. That only really affects top lane Rengar. So I think the nerfs here for honestly probably the 3 most broken junglers in the game, maybe even champions, they're really minimal and insignificant. They are still going to be significant champions in 13-14. Rengar, this probably just means you have to go lethality now and not maybe like Essence Reaver. So maybe you have to go something like Duskblade into Prowler's Core, which is getting 18 lethality now. That's getting buffed up by 3, and you can even get Edge of Night after this, right? There are so many options here. So Rengar's here as well. This is followed by the last jungler here, guys, AD Shaco. Lots of you Shaco mains might be a little bit baffled by this, but Shaco getting a 20% increase in the bonus AD in his Q and then extra crit damage from his passive. This is really big, and I'm really talking about the bonus AD from your Q, right? When you backstab someone out of your Q, because quite simply with Stride Breaker, bro, this is the most like broken setup for this champion, and I would know, you know, having played Shaco and Challenger for multiple seasons and coached lots of Shaco players to free wins who go Stride Breaker with Berserker's Grease and then Blade of the Rune King. Man, this setup is going to be even more busted in 13-14, and I think he's already a big threat for the majority of players, so AD Shaco is here now as well. Now moving into the mid lane here, we have 5 champions. The first of these is Diana, who is getting some huge buffs in 13-14. So your W shield strength is increasing, your W's damage per orb is increasing, and also the EAP ratio is increasing as well by 20%. This is massive for Diana. Whether you're playing her in the mid lane or in the jungle, Rocket Belt Diana full AP one-shot is honestly going to be back. So look out for her in 13-14. Then we have LeBlanc. So I know the Static Shiv is getting nerfed here, so the actual electroshock damage is going down at later levels, but the thing here is that it's still keeping like the AP in Static Shiv, and it's still going to do the job for you. You're still going to have the wave clear and also like kind of the indirect poke through Static Shiv to be able to play Fleet Footwork LeBlanc still in 13-14. If you guys actually check out some of the gameplay from high relos with LeBlanc and Static Shiv and Fleet, she looks so broken, bro. So you really have to play her at max capacity, which again, we can teach you how to do just that via our website, so check that out if you want to abuse LeBlanc in 13-14, and for that reason, if you can play her, she's got to be here. Now next up, we have Lissandra, who might be getting some of the biggest buffs out of all the champions in 13-14, and she's getting so many, I can't really detail them in this video, so again, watch our previous video to know what they are. But pretty much you're getting a lot of quality of life changes. Your ultimate is now going to be one of the most powerful tools in the game. Your Q is going to slow everyone it hits. There are so many for Liss, and she counters some of these champions, right? Like LeBlanc. Lissandra is probably the best counter in the entire game, so watch out for Liss in 13-14. Now we also have Nico here as well, guys, and Nico isn't really affected by anything here, so kind of like Fiora in a way of the mid lane, Nico is still going to be Nico. Really good champion, excellent at team fighting, right? You're always going to have a presence in any game you're in, good at laning as well. Yes, the nerfs a couple of patches ago may have affected you a little bit, but they weren't enough. She's still like an S+ tier mid laner in every single elo. Now last mid laner here, I only think you should be picking this champion, guys, as a counter pick to those control mages, right, who you can really bully. So if you see someone pick a Nivea, if you see someone pick maybe a Syndra, something like this, right, picking Xerath, you will obliterate them, man, because the range you have, it's uncontestable, and because of the buffs in 13-14 to this champion, all right, you're getting less base mana, but guess what? Your passive is now going to be a passive. You can get mana when you kill minions. So this is going to be huge, and the actual cooldown to your passive is going to be refunded to some extent when you do last hit minions as well. So this is encouraging mid lane Xerath to be back, and also your ultimate, you're getting more casts as well. So when you hit level 6, you're getting 4 casts for your ultimate. This is huge for Xerath. Even if the damage is down, if you land all 4, you will be dealing more damage, obviously. This is huge for this champion. So Xerath in the mid lane, I've got to include him here. Now moving down to the bot lane, guys, we have 4 AD carries. Well, 3 of them are. One of them is an AP carry. So the AD carries are as follows. The first one, we have Ashe. Why is Ashe here? Trinity Force Ashe. Also, the recent buffs to Ashe, so like W's damage and all that stuff, her passive damage, have been massive. Honestly, I think she's the best AD carry in the game, just in terms of like all-around champion. Like you can blind pick, counter pick as Ashe. She's great. Then we have Draven. Now, Trinity Force, Just like I mentioned for the other champions, right? It looks like a buff for these champions. It's still going to be nuts on Draven. And even if you're not going Trinity Force, we also have Infinity Edge getting buffed, so you're getting more crit from that item as well. So if you want to go something like Crit Draven, maybe with like Essence Reaver into Infinity Edge, something like this, that's also an option here. Kai'Sa is the next AD carry. So Static Shiv, again, yes, it might be getting nerfed, but it's still going to be good enough because you're going AP Kai'Sa, right? So Static Shiv into Nash's Tooth, into something like maybe Crown of the Shattered Queen, Luden's Tempest, whatever you want to go here. Kai'Sa is still going to be great. Also because the bot lane meta at the moment, lots of engaged champions. That procs Kai'Sa's passive, that lets you with Halo Blades, when you're going that build, get off your attacks quickly, stack your passive, proc your passive, GG, well played. Last bot laner guys to think about here who counters a champion like Kai'Sa, and lots of the stuff we're seeing because it's so close range, this is Karthus. But Karthus is getting nerfed. You're right, Karthus is getting nerfed, but they're not going to be big enough, bro. He's still going to be kind of nutty. Yes, the Q damage might be going down, and you might be like encouraged to play Karthus in the jungle because his Q's damage for monsters is increasing, but you're still maintaining pretty much all of the strength in the bot lane. Once you get to Lost Chapter, you should be fine, and it's just the fact that the meta is so close range head buddy. Karthus is still gonna love it in 13-14. Last three champions, guys, are of course the three supports in this video, and if you are enjoying our recent Season 13 content, please remember to leave a like down below. And the three supports are as follows. Now, I think this champion is excellent at the moment because she's probably like the best disengaged champion in the entire game and one of the best cucks to engages. This is Janna. So if you see something like maybe a Rel or an Alistair or a Rakan, something that has like a bit of charge time, if you will, yeah? So it's not like an insta hook like a Blitzcrank because Janna would get destroyed, but you can actually react to a Rakan W, to a Rel W, something like this, by just pressing your Q, to a Leona E, by pressing your Q. You can interrupt so many engages in the bot lane, and with Glacial Augment, after they're slowed, so like a Rakan who goes in or a Rel, well, Rakan is a little bit different because he does have his E to escape, but most of them are going to be overextended and you can retaliate. She's a great champion to pick. I'd highly recommend learning her and mastering her. Again, you can do so via our website and putting her in your champion pool for this patch. Then we have Rakan. Very good support to blind pick and do well in every single game, and just has so many synergies. You can play him as like a peeler, as an engager, just great all-around champion. The buffs in Season 13 as well have helped him out so much, so he's got to be here. The final champion, guys, despite Rel copping nerfs, Rel has to be here as well. Yes, your armor's going down. You're getting less armor as well out of your passive. But guess what? Rel is still maintaining, or keeping, I should say, all of her engage for 13-14. I think her win rate will definitely drop. She'll be squishier. She'll be punished more easily. But man, like, it's Rel. It is the reworked Rel. She's still going to be nuts. So those were the best champions, guys, the 20 best for 13-14. If you think I've missed a few champions, let us know in the comment section. If you agree, disagree, again, put your thoughts down below, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our future Season 13 content. This has been Coach Cheeks. Peace.